Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. My name is Saba Karim, and I'm going to teach you today how to pitch better. You can call it a clear pitch or how to pitch right without getting lucky. There's so many ways to just talk about it, but I'm going to talk why you should listen to me and stay for the next hour or 57 minutes as we have it right now. I've seen more pitch decks than anyone else in the world. In fact, in 2023, I saw over 55,000 in a 12-month period. And I'm going to show you where I did that, how I did that, and then the best lessons I have to share from that. So I'm going to share my screen here. This is what I think entrepreneurship is all about. Connecting different people, teaching, building, shipping, whether it's on Solana or just any technologies. This is the best part. Such a pleasure to be here. A little bit more about me. I gave you a teaser, but I am originally from Melbourne, Australia. I studied at Deakin University, so shout out to my Deaconites. And then I studied at Stanford in the US, and now I'm based in Los Angeles. I'm a 5-time founder. The last company I worked on was acquired by HubSpot. And after that, I started working at Techstars, the world's biggest startup accelerator. And so that's where I saw over 50,000 companies per year. So I'm going to be sharing a pitch deck template that's based on a lot of different companies, a lot of different accelerators guidance, in fact. And so there are some secrets to be shared and lessons to be learned. That's me in my background. If you're curious about me right now, just in 30 seconds, I care about human connection. I'm building apps and products to empower that. And if you are part of the Solana community, you might have seen that we have been building the Horoscope app as well. So feel free to check any of that out. But let's get to business right now. Today's agenda. I'm going to teach you about the 15-second quick pitch. I'm going to teach you about the 40 to 60-second clear pitch, and then a 4 to 5-minute investor pitch. They are very different. You have to realize that, then you'll see why. But really, the lessons you're going to learn are the importance of clear communication, common pitfalls to avoid, resources to help you in your pitching journey. I'm going to share with you my pitch deck template, at least halfway through, with a link that you can actually go and create and edit on your own. What to expect in investor meetings if we get time, and then I'm going to tie it all together for you. So feel free to ask questions at any point. I'm going to answer them as much as I can throughout. I've taught this at Stanford, Arizona State University, at Draper, at so many different colleges and to a lot of different accelerators. I'm just sharing this because I'm here to help you get better at pitching your company, whether it's a project, whether it's a startup, whether it's a side hustle, whatever it might be. Your goal is to learn how to pitch better, at least by the end of it. Elevator pitches. Most people think they go for a minute, but unless if you live on the 300th floor of a building at the Burj Khalifa, they're typically 10 seconds. And there's only one goal of an elevator pitch. You might do an elevator pitch in an elevator. You actually might also do it when you're at a networking event, or when you go to a coffee shop and someone's like, oh, what do you do? And you want to get their attention real quick. And it's typically 10 seconds, okay? In 10 seconds, your goal is not to share why this, why you started, who joined you, what you've done, what you're going to do, why you should care, will you call later, how many other people should care, why I should care, are they telling the truth, is there anything else I need to know? Hell no, that is way too much for 10 seconds. Any elevator pitch needs to have a hook tailored to them with an ask, and then you wait for their response. Literally, the wait is included in the 10 seconds, okay? And so I'm going to give an example of this, of what most people will do, and then I'll share one example, a good example of this where it actually does work, right? But before I do that, you need to know what the goal is of any pitch. Anyone know? What do you think the goal is? Is it to hear them say yes? Maybe. But what are you really trying to do? Okay. The answer is get the next meeting. It's that simple, right? Your goal is to get the next meeting because that means you're getting to know them and then get to move from the 10-second pitch to the 45-second pitch to the 5-minute pitch. So remember the goal of any pitch. So if we go back to this elevator pitch, the hook could be something really interesting. Hey, I'm top 5 startups and I won the competition at Coliseum. And I wanted to let you know, since you like investing in social apps, if you'd love to learn how we did it so well, right? Hey, I'm in town in San Francisco because I've got a meeting with Andreessen Horowitz. We'd love to share you what we're working on. And so you're just giving a teaser to go, oh, how did they win that Coliseum? Or how did they get a meeting with Andreessen? And then you tailor it to them in some sort of way. Like it could be something simple like, hey, I love your shoes, or I saw your last tweet, or I know that you invest in healthcare startups. Whatever it is, so it doesn't sound robotic and generic. The best thing someone said to me is something about something that was written on the back of my shirt. And I was like, wow, they really paid attention to me as I was walking into the elevator, not even just in it, because it said serendipity on the back. So hook, tailored, ask, and then wait. So your goal is not to get the check. Your goal is to get the next meeting at the end of the 10 to 15 seconds. Okay. Practice that at home and try that with a few friends and just go, did that make you want to ask any more questions or even step out of the elevator? With me so far? Okay. Let's keep going. If that's a 15-second pitch, then we're going to workshop the 42-second clear pitch. If you're in front of your computer, you can go to that URL right now. Let's see. Did I pay the domains? Clearpitch42.com. Yep, that works. Clearpitch42.com. Either way, I'm going to share that with you in a template. What do you think your biggest competition is? When you're pitching, what is your competition? What am I most worried that you might be doing right now? Swiping on Tinder, on Instagram, checking your Slack, right? Your goal when you're pitching is to get the person off their phone, right? And I'm going to show you different ways to do that to ensure that they haven't got distracted and they haven't lost interest. What do you think people are most scared of when they are pitching? People are worried that when they say something and the other person doesn't say anything, or there's silence in the room, that it's a problem, but it's not. It means they're thinking, and that's a good thing. So don't be scared of the silence when you're pitching this in a coffee shop, in a meeting, on stage, on a Zoom. Silence is okay. It lets people catch their breath and start again, or catch their breath and ask the next question. Okay? So if you find yourself too excited or a little bit nervous, just reset. And it's okay to slow it down. So keep them off their phone and let the silence just drag it out a little bit. Every single pitch that you do needs to be three things: memorable, educational, and actionable. Memorable just means that it won't be forgotten. Maybe it's done by a fun fact that I shared, like 50,000 startups that I saw in 2023. Maybe it's that I made you laugh, or I gave you an interesting fact, or maybe my accent was different, or maybe I wore something unique. Whatever it might be, your goal is to be memorable, right? Otherwise, everything else doesn't matter. The next thing is to be educational. You have to inform me and teach me something during that pitch that I didn't know. If I didn't, then why would I want to invest 5, 10 grand or 100 grand or even $2 million into you? So you have to be smarter, right, than me in something. And then the next one is actionable. Your pitch needs to tell me what I need to do next. Are you looking for funding or not? Or do you want me to demo your product out? Whatever it might be, memorable, educational, actionable. I don't have a cute acronym for it because it's MEA, but I don't want to dilute any of the messaging. It's those three things that are really key. By the way, some people are asking if I'll share the deck. We don't share this deck. It's best delivered because you get a lot more tidbits like this. So if you are at home taking notes, take notes or screenshot whatever you want, or watch this again. But absolutely, please enjoy this and keep taking value from this because, like I said, this is here to help you from all the journeys of the startups that I've helped build, okay? Here's another common misconception before we go into the clear pitch. Your goal when you're pitching is not to sell the product to me or to the investor. Your goal is to sell the business opportunity. A silly example I like to give is if you sell golf clubs, don't be like Saba. when you play golf, it's going to allow you to hit it further. I don't care. I don't play golf. Even if it's pickleball, like you're not trying to convince me. You're trying to convince me there are 5 million people that play golf on Saturdays, and we want to help them hit the ball further. And that's why we invented this thing. So it's the opportunity of how big this thing is versus the product. There's like 100 million developers building on Solana. That's what we're targeting, right? Not, hey, you should use Solana because of these 10 great benefits. So think about the opportunity itself. All right, let's get into the ClearPitch. Hopefully you've got it up in the meantime. ClearPitch42.com. This should take, you guessed it, 42 seconds. And you're just talking through all of the key information about the company for someone to go, I know their stage. I know who's involved. And do I want to learn more and sit down with them for 4 to 5 minutes or a 30-minute walk and talk? So Faves is my 5th startup. I have 1 co-founder and 1 employee on the team. The HQ is in Los Angeles, and we were founded 2 months ago. We're focused on targeting people who are sick of social media swipe and exhaustion. It helps the problem of doom scrolling by offering a newsfeed of just updates from your friends. Today, we have 50,000 users, and my ask is $5 million. Okay. This frames it up to help investors understand what stage you are at, what the target audience is, what the problem is, and solution. It should be more than what I did, which is 1 or 2 words. So go ahead and do this. And I'm on Twitter. You can DM me your Google Doc and be like, hey, what do you think of this ClearPitch? I'll be happy to do that for the attendees at today's awesome Hackaroo Solana ANZ event. One of the most common questions that I get is, hey, but what if I don't have an ask? Then the question is, why are you pitching? Or why are you applying to this accelerator or this hackathon or whatever? So your ask has to be like, what's going to help you get to the next milestone? So if you aren't actually raising capital, then, hey, my ask is to partner with you because you guys are known as the best platform for X. Okay. So we're looking for more developers to join us on this journey. Just giving you an idea, make sure there's an ask of some sort. Otherwise, if it's not actionable, then who cares? You're just talking into the void. If you don't have traction, so I had 50,000 users mentioned as traction. If you don't have that, know that there's a different ways to share what traction is. Revenue, funds raised, how many users, maybe POCs, which is proof of concepts, or LOIs, which is letters of intent if you're in B2B or corporate, signups or even surveys. At the bare minimum, we should at least say lines of code. Like, we have built this. We've used Vibe Code app and built this, right? Or we've tokenized this product now, and now we're going to start going after users, but we know that technically can be built. Whatever it might be, but just show that you've got some momentum or traction in what you're building. If you think that you have time left, don't waste your 45-second spot. Talk about your competition. It's easy to just anchor it and go, hey, we're like the Uber for chef-made food delivery. You should typically get it. Make sure it's a good example where it doesn't convolute the answer. But if you can mention the competition, totally fine. Never talk bad about a competition, but definitely anchor it if you can, if you think it'll help. A really good bonus would be why the time is now. AI is having a moment, obviously. So that makes sense, but it's almost obvious. So why security now? Okay, more people are being hacked. Okay, why? Because XYZ reason. Or, hey, why do you think Faves is so important right now? Okay, because there's a lot of slop on my news feeds today. So I think it's worse than ever. So if you think it's relevant to mention in your pitch that the why now, mention that. Really helps. If you don't have traction, and then I'll answer the question that's coming in here. If you don't have traction, like genuinely don't, and you just have an idea and you want to see if this is worth your while, I won't punish you. You're going to talk about your past experience. So let's just say I want to make a handbag made of, I don't know, a new banana leaf. I can talk about it in terms of, I used to work at Louis Vuitton and I see that they used to use eucalyptus leaf and they're never going to move to banana leaf. So that's my insight. Or, hey, my past experience was head of security at this company. And so I'm going to want to go build this, but I have this unique insight and access that will allow me to get the first 10 customers off the bat. So that's how you get around talking about traction if you need to. But ideally, you've got all of this here: intro, overview, closing, and then the ask. Hopefully I've answered the question that came in here. Again, clearpitch42.com, available in Spanish as well. Download that, fill it out, and have it handy. One of the key things you're going to need to know about this is you should memorize your pitch. You're going to say it over 2,000 times for the life of your company, I promise you, if not more. Don't read. Be sure to pause. But memorize the pitch and know how to deliver it in a strong, powerful, and exciting way. As you think through pitches, remember that your pitch is a vote of confidence. So there's a really big difference when you say we are doing, or we learned, versus we will, or we're trying to, or we're thinking about. I know that's a little bit meta, but it's really important for you to realize that key difference. There is a difference between these things, and investors will hear that. We want a bias for action. I want to know that you've tried it and there's momentum and traction. The next thing I'm going to teach you, even though I can't do this myself, avoid filler words. These are filler words that make you feel or sound not as confident. Practice, take it easy. There's a couple of apps that I can recommend: orai.com, orai.com. And then you can just talk to yourself in the mirror and you'll notice how many times you say those filler words too. So definitely makes a bit of a difference. Body language makes a difference. We won't dig into this too much, but it matters how you stand, where your arms go, if you're having eye contact, if you're on Zoom, if you're multitasking, and then describing things. One fun thing I usually like to share that I'll quickly share is if you're using hands to describe things, it just makes it more engaging. We had 10,000 users, then we have 20,000 users. Our goal is to get 5 million users. If you just do those steps, it just makes it alive enough where you don't just look like a penguin or you're just standing there flat. Cool. Body language, super important. Practice, level 3. Let's get back to pitch. So these are things that don't matter as much when you're pitching, like being a little bit late, kids crying in the background, choppy internet. These are things you can't really control. Focus on just being a good human. If you are getting to do a pitch or you've been invited to do the interview, be on time or message if you're being late. If you're pitching too much and not listening or engaging, making sure that you're checking back with everyone, being like, hey, everything okay here? Hello to everyone from my YouTube and my Twitter, everyone who joined in from Nigeria and Malaysia and Singapore, Boston. So it's like just letting people know that you're there. If you wear glasses, you can always usually see when people are multitasking, which is so funny. Be careful of that. We're about to go into the pitch deck template, but here are some of my favorite books. 2 very good, highly recommended books around public speaking and pitching in general. If you have questions, now's a great time to put them into the chat or move on to the next page of notes and comments. Your 4 to 5 minute pitch. This is typically when you're on stage, maybe you have a slide deck behind you, maybe the investor gets on a call with you, or maybe you meet an investor in person and they're saying, hey, I want you to tell me about your company. It's typically going to be a one-on-one conversation back and forth, but for the times that you do need a 4 to 5 minute delivery, this is all the content that's going to be in there. Remember, it has to be memorable, educational, and actionable. Entertain them, be remembered, inform them of something new, and progress to the next stage. Slide 1 of your pitch deck, or even while you're loading up a pitch deck or pulling out your iPad, you want to grab their attention with a startling fact, an interesting story. Maybe you want to contradict conventional wisdom, make them laugh, play on a known fear, or even just be different. If you remember what I said at least a couple times, I've seen more pitch decks than anyone else in the world. In fact, in 2023, I saw 50,000 of them. And so that usually gets people going, oh, wait, that's interesting. I might learn something. And so figure out what your hook is or what your opening line is. If you don't have that, you've lost them for the next 10. Like, should they go to the next page or not? But this is the first one that grabs attention. So one that I used to do is, did you know people are more scared of public speaking than being eaten by a shark? Hi, I'm today going to tell you about why we created this public speaking app. One of my other favorite Australian companies would say, today, men, I'm going to talk about something that you'll have no idea what it feels like. Periods. And so the founder will talk about periods, and she sold a device that reduced the pain. So just something interesting that either makes you laugh or catches your attention. Okay. So definitely nail this and spend some time on that. I'm going to say that about a few things, not everything, but there are some key things, and hopefully you take note of what they are. Avoid these opening lines though. Education is broken. Our $1 trillion idea. These are so cliche. Okay. We're going after Apple, or we are revolutionizing juices. These days, they sound pitchy. They sound unbelievable. We've heard every version of this. I remember the journey as I was a VC for 6 years. It just sounds more and more exaggerated. And I just think there's a better way to communicate it and just say, we're going to make brushing your teeth easier. It just gets your attention more, because what the heck is he talking about? So avoid things that are too pitchy and almost maybe be the opposite, like maybe be ironic, but don't be too pitchy. As you're going through your deck, this could just be a framing of reference of all the things you want to cover in a conversation with an investor. If you want a copy of this pitch deck template, it's on sabakarim.com/pitch deck. So you can go ahead and download it. It'll be available forever, so it won't go anywhere. So you can get that afterwards too. So sabakarim.com/pitch deck. Hopefully we can put this in the comments later as well. So you want to talk about you. Who are you? Not just what you're doing. Hi, I'm the CEO, but who are you? Why should I believe you? Why do you care about this? Right? It's really important to understand that. I frame that up like about what I've done before, at least for 25, 30 seconds. You want to then talk about the team. Who are you working with? Have you convinced at least one other person to join you on this journey? If you're just a solo founder, without an advisor, without an investor, without a co-founder, without an intern or employee, you're going to have a lot of problems, in my opinion. Show that you're working with other people that also believe in what you believe in. If you've met this person 3 years ago, a co-founder, talk about that. Talk about the different things that help you show that you're going to be working on this for a lot longer. If you met at a hackathon a week ago, less trustworthy, but fine, at least you've got someone to work with you. But the better the story, but the longer the duration of this friendship or working relationship, the better. Hey, we met in college, or I'm dating his sister. I don't know, but talk about the team. Then you want to move on to the audience. Who is your target audience? The person or the people that will use this. You need to know everything about them. How old they are, what gender, which location they're in, what magazines they read, what apps they love. If you're more B2B, which role in the company are you targeting? It's really important to understand that. Think about it like, if you say, hey, I'm targeting social media companies. Okay, there's 8. Okay, which role in a social media company are you targeting? Okay, you're targeting head of product. Put Nikita Beer's face there. We're targeting other people like Nikita Beer. I think he's an advisor to Solana, like, who does product work for Twitter or X. And be like, we want to find the 100 others that work at other social companies like that, and so on. So it's really important to show that you know who exactly your target audience is. You're going to also then talk about who the decision maker is in case it's not that person, right? Whether it's CEO or someone else. Showing that you clearly know the target audience really just nails in the next part, which is the problem that you're solving. You have to be really clear. If you don't know this, you failed. A lot of people know what the solution is, but they don't always know what the problem is that they're solving, which is interesting. Let me give you a silly example that I always give, and at least in person, we make some people laugh. Tinder lets you swipe left and right on who you want to date. That's not solving the problem. That's a solution. What's the actual problem? Loneliness. Great. That's the problem. Okay. So define the difference between problem and solution. Super important for you to put them on 2 different slides and talk about it like that. Problem is, let's use it for my faves example in case you're following that thread there. Faves, What problem are you solving? People are lonelier than ever, and technology doesn't let them feel as connected as they used to. Even deeper than that, suicide rates are higher than ever before because people feel lonely. Solution: we built an app to help message your friends so they can stay in touch with you more often than they do right now. Okay? Split that up, talk about it in two different ways, two different threads. As you're talking about the product, you want to talk about the extra detail. Is it just an app? Is it multiple products that fit together? Is there a premium? Is there a pro? Is there an air? Talk about all the different ways that they can consume this and help them understand that, because it's going to show how much you've thought about it. And it's not just, hey, we have this one thing. It also allows you to then talk about the roadmap as well. Hey, today you can just text. In the future, we'll let you call. And then there's going to be AR, and there's going to be VR, and there's going to be devices. Like whatever it might be, like talk about the big grand vision. When I was investing, the first thing I always looked at was a vision slide. Cool, your goal is to sell golf clubs. So what's a big vision? You want to improve every athlete in the world. Okay, that's more exciting to me. How do you start? Okay, cool, you start with golf. Totally fine. So it's important to work your way up and totally build up on that thread of the product. Okay. How many people experience this issue? Tell me quickly about the TAM, the SAM, and the SOM. If you're not familiar with that, I'm not going to try and teach you in this session today. All I'm going to tell you is use plain English. You just want to help figure out and say how many people in the world experience this problem. Let's just say you're targeting people that have dogs that live in New York that are over the age of 35. That's okay. New York has 2 million people, 50% male, 1 million, 10% of people have dogs. Okay, cool. Your target audience is 100,000 people. Great. Just have a gut check, an idea of what this problem size is, and then how many Solana developers are there? Cool. We're targeting all of them. Great. Let's do that. And so as you're talking about the market and the size, you want to talk about the trend. Like, why is this the right time right now? This is more relevant in certain cities. Hey, there needs to be a new insurance platform because there's so many people crashing their scooters around town. And so there's such a big surge that we want to help protect these people. So that makes sense, right? Or we're building security for vibe coding apps because easy to hack. So we're building for them. Again, it's happening right now. So figure out why right now is so important. And then we dug into a little bit before, but we're going to dig into it more, which is traction. What kind of traction do you have? It doesn't have to be profit, revenue, or funds raised. It can also be surveys. People normally ask, how many surveys should I have done to help validate this? Well, the answer is there is no answer. Have you talked to enough people that have said, hey, I really think that it's difficult to figure out what credit card I should use to turn my crypto dollars into money I can spend on paying my staff? If you talk to 10 founders that said, I don't have a credit card for it, that's 10 interviews done and 10 people that confirmed it. Surveys would just give you an idea of, do people say that they have this problem? Is it obvious to them eventually? You could talk to 100, but after 10 or 20, you might realize that everyone's saying the same thing. If you talk to only one or two, then it's a problem. But you get to a point where, yes, it's very clear that something needs to be solved. If you're not doing surveys, big red flag, but maybe you already know the market, then you should at least have a waiting list next. A waiting list is also interest. It's showing that you're building something that people want and there's interest for this. Whether you've got 5,000, 10,000, 100,000, whatever it might be, but not having a landing page with a wait list to say, hey, this is where people can share it with each other is a problem. And typically products that are the ones that get the best wait list because friends start sharing with each other because they think of someone that they want to share it to. So if you're still waiting by the end of tonight to go, hey, should I set up a landing page for my website right now? That's absolutely crazy. Just go do it. But show the traction, and then all the other things are typical, right? How many signups do you have? How many users do you have? What's your DAO, WOW, and MAU if you have a mobile app? LOIs, POCs, and prototypes, okay? If you're in hardware, at least show us the prototype you've got. Like physically, hold it in your hand and show it to me. If it's robotics, then show photos of it during a demo. Right? If you have, like I said, if you had no traction, then you're not doing a 4 to 5 minute pitch. You're probably just stuck in that elevator as the investor will say, cool, talk to us when you've proven this bit out. So you do need to show one of these, okay? Next up, we have growth. The most common mistake founders make is they talk about channels, right? They're like, hey, we're going to do Facebook ads and email marketing. That's not a go-to-market strategy. So talk clearly during your pitch about what the strategy is going to be. Hey, we're going to print off flyers, go around Beverly Hills, put it in cars that are worth over $200,000, give them a card that says free. Talk about the strategy. No one's stealing your idea, I promise you. And you just talk about how you're thinking about it, because I want to get into your mindset. You might have done it or you might not have done it. You might not be doing it, but the idea is to show them that you're thinking about it beyond just saying what most founders do. Hey, my goal is just to do Facebook ads and my goal is to go viral on TikTok. Show us how you've already done it. And so we start then talking not just about the go-to-market strategy, but also the customer acquisition strategy. Is it going to be partnerships? Is it referral? If it's sales, are you going to be going to exhibitions? The go-to-market is how you're going to position it in the market. So when Uber first launched, they didn't say we're going to be the cheapest, the fastest, or the key messaging was we are the most convenient way to get from A to B. It ended up being the most luxurious. And now, in my opinion, it happens to be the cheapest. And if you have the same experience as me, it happens to be also the safest. But the go-to-market specifically positioning wise was we are the most convenient way, because you could just sit outside your house or outside a friend's house and say, take me to the next destination. So figure out if it's pricing that you're anchoring off, or like the iPhone Pro, it's the most premium, the iPhone Air, it's the lightest, or the iPhone S, like which one are you for your product? Because if you don't have that specific wedge, then it's just going to be a product that just gets missed amongst all the others because it just sounds like everything else. So definitely define go-to-market strategy and the customer acquisition strategy, which is what I said earlier. All right, hopefully you're following along. A couple more slides left on pitch deck template, then we're going to fire through the rest. Already planning some rollout on waitlist in 12 hours. I love that. Good. Do not forget this. How will you make money? Tell that in your deck or in your conversation. There's so many companies that don't make money. How are you going to make money eventually? Please know that. Is it through customers? Is it through vendors? Is it through delivery? Are people going to pay for the download? Are they going to pay a monthly recurring cost for your product? Are you going to sell their data? Hopefully not. Are you going to advertise to them? Whatever it is, be clear about what you are going to be doing for that business model. Closing, right? Now you're starting to close out your pitch deck or wrap up your 5 minutes, and you want people to understand who else is in this market. If there's big names, that's great. If there's small names or companies I've never heard of, that's great. In fact, any name is good, because if you say we have no competition, shut your laptop, go home, because it's a lie or you have no idea. There's always competition. And surprisingly, yep, in 2025, we hear people say we have no competition. There is. Uber's competition was taxis. Even if taxis didn't exist, you know what Uber's competition was? Aunties and uncles. Not bad. So like, it's one of those things where it's just like, how do you talk about it where this is an important problem to solve, right? It gets people excited by it. Never talk bad about the competition and never say there is no competition. That's it, right? The team. Again, yes. We talked about the team, Saba. Yeah, I know, but you have to focus on it. Early on, people want to know who you are, reminder why you're so awesome, what experience have you got, what school did you go to, what company did you build. Talk about it, how maybe you got in a taxi and bumped into Sam Altman, right? Or you got advisors from WhatsApp. Whatever it is, just show your circle of people and your team, because early stage investing and pitching is about the people on the bus. I'm sure you've heard the narrative about. Maybe show photos of you and your team hanging out, climbing a mountain together. It's all these things to just go, okay, we're not just building a business and we're building some great stuff. Okay. Now, final slide, the close or the ask. What was the goal of this pitch? I am looking for funding, or I want you to be my mentor, or Microsoft would love to do a pilot with you, or Hey, we'd love to do partnerships and do more events with you in the future. Whatever it is, but typically in this investor pitch, hey, we'd love funding. We want $500,000, or we want $1 million, or we need 250,000 for the next milestone. Just be really clear what it is. But in case I'm somewhat correct, I don't think, in fact, you have to share what your money and funding is for in the deck. It's the conversation that happens afterwards. So you just say how much you're raising and it happens later. In fact, the more that gets asked in the conversation than the pitch, the better, because you're leading the investor through this journey to have this conversation with you, to lead them towards what you want to talk about. One of the slides was our customer acquisition strategy is partnerships. And in fact, we just signed one customer last night that's in the Fortune 500. The first thing the investor is going to ask when it's Q&A time is, who did you sign? If you're willing to share. And so you're going through the journey of guiding them in terms of what you want them to talk to you about. This is a full 13 slides of what you want to cover in your pitch deck. Introduction, team, audience, problem, solution, product, lineup, roadmap, market size and timing, traction, customer acquisition strategy, business model, competition, team, and then the ask. If you do get the investor meeting or the interview, your goal in the investor meeting is to build rapport. Don't pitch. Talk to them like a human. One of the best things they can hear is, hey, how do you like to run these? It's beautiful because they do these all day long and you might do it every couple times a year, but they're doing this 24/7. So asking the person, hey, how do you like to run these? And they'll tell you, hey, please go through a 5-minute deck. Or, hey, let's just talk one-on-one and I'm going to ask you questions. It's totally fine. If you get to have this opportunity where that you're talking, when they ask you questions, write down the question, and then you should answer the question if you answer the question. It sounds a little bit dumb, I know, but it's true, because they're going to ask you not to throw you off and because they're bad people, but they might ask 2 or 3 questions at once. And you want to go, hey, did I answer the question that you had? Be concise. You don't have to be fast. Demo wherever possible, right? Hey, we're creating headphones and they will fit in your pocket. It just stops the imagination having to be put on them and the effort to think about what you're saying. And you can just show that to them. Avoid bold claims. Remember, education is broken. I get it. It just doesn't help saying it like that. Make sure you have a clear ask, define the next step, and then offer an investor update at the least. Hey, no matter what happens, I'd love to include you in my investor updates. Get back to me next Tuesday. I'll add you to the monthly update. Is that cool? Start with the jaw dropper. Weave in a story whenever you can. Hey, when I was 13, I first realized that I couldn't speak English well, and so then I created this app. Make me laugh. Do whatever you can to make yourself entertaining. Have good body language. Leave me smarter. Demo wherever possible. Highlight important points. Know what to leave out, like I said about the partnerships. Speak in sound bites where they almost feel like they can quote you, right? Where you're saying things, pausing and letting it sink in. Pause and breathe. Bring energy. Get excited about what you're pitching. If you're bored and not smiling and not having fun, why the hell would they want to spend the next 10 years with you? Practice. Highlight important points again, because that's how important it is. You might realize that something doesn't land well. You'll notice it straight away and don't do it again. And test it until you start getting positive reactions every time and you get the person out of the elevator, right? If you forget everything that I've taught you and you're in this scenario, you're like, crap, I forgot that beautiful 13-page guide. Here's a chronological order. First, I did this, then I did that so that I could do that. So since then, we've done this. First, I realized that I wanted to be the CMO at Facebook. Then I realized eventually that I don't enjoy using Facebook anymore because it's full of ads. So then I built a new platform called Phase that is like Facebook without ads. And since then, we've launched it and we've got over 50,000 users to it. Sometimes the best pitch is not a pitch at all. It's just a low intensity conversation between 2 people. You show your screen, give them a demo, and the tables turn from here's what I have wanted to build to here's what I've built. And I'd love to be on this journey with you. That's it. If you learned something, follow me on X. I'm also writing on Substack, or check out the cool stuff that I'm building on phasehq.com. And huge thank you again to all the awesome people that got me here today. Hackaroo, Solana ANZ. I think the whole Solana ecosystem in general is just epic. And my name's Saba, and this was an absolute pleasure. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for all the emojis and hearts and comments and questions. Please feel free to reach out on X, and looking forward to hearing everything that you're building, and good luck at the Coliseum. Bye.